I heard somebody told me once that we completely overestimate what we can do in a year of practice, and we completely underestimate what we can accomplish in 10 years of
Yes,
practice.
yes, yes.
And it's because we usually don't set out to make a long practice out of something.
Right.
You know, even people, I mean, everybody's seen Kung Fu theater and they know it's
Yeah,
the long haul. And so they have
yeah,
some in the back of their mind, they're thinking that, but
right.
the life is fast paced and stuff. But I think if we set that first year, honestly, Peter, like you said, that kind of curse of that first spell
Right.
and
Yeah.
people not thinking they're where they should be
Yes.
in that first one. And I tell them, I said, look, man, just picture yourself. If you train 3 days a week, let's say,
Right.
and you put yourself into it, you really applied yourself, and let's say that life does not interrupt you, and you were able to train for a year, how good do you think you would be? Get a picture of that in your mind, and then I would say cut that in half.
Right.
You'll be about half that big. But
That's well
but
said.
that's okay. But that's
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes,
Like
yes.
but that's good. Then same thing, no interruptions. Life doesn't get in the way in 10 years. Picture yourself, and I would triple it.
Yeah.
I'd say you'll be three
Yeah,
pounds
yeah,
as good as you
yeah.
think you are. And I think that's a little tough one to get over that. And I think that's why maybe the blue belt curse happens,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, oh man, I mean, that's not the only thing, but I think, people expect a bit more of themselves in that first year. I should be better. I should, like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I think categorically I should be better. I think is probably true. But like I'm the one person that applies to. But what I would say that I also think, and as you and I are in a similar phase, season of life, that the proportion that a year represents to the time you've been alive just feels different as you go along. When I started at 50 and I walked in the door, I actually walked in the door hoping that my son would do this, and 6 weeks later he quit, and I'm like, this is exactly for me.
oh, that's happened. Yeah.
Like this, I have found something
Yeah.
that I didn't know I needed. And but as I made that, like, as I fell in love with it, I knew that this is the rest of my life I will be studying this, and that I'm gonna look to avoid any real evaluation until 10 years in. I don't, it's not to, the currency of the belts is much less important to me than it would be to other people, because it's
Mhm.
not going to matter, at 60 years of age, if it's
Mhm.
in 10 years, regardless of what rank I am, the notion that
Mhm.
that means much in the world besides to me, is different. If I was 20, it would feel different, but a year felt different at 20 also. Like that's 5% of my life then, and it's 2% of my life now. And so the having the longer arc is easier at this point in my
Yeah.
life than it was before. And I don't know if you find that to be true elsewhere,
I do.
but
I do. I think it's true on everything. And
yeah,
can I tell you a quick story?
please.
Okay. So when I was in college, I had the good fortune to train with a man named Professor Liu Jin. He
Okay.
was the dean. He was the dean of physical education of Yunnan University in China. And he was on a scholar exchange at our university.
Okay.
And a Chinese friend of mine had introduced me